Welcome to the World of Communications, conducted by Talika Postel. Every afternoon, my television is set on our local news stations, engaging in the worldly matters that goes on by day. Ever want to know who are those people called who do those interviews for celebrities, stars, activists, politicians, and imagining interviewing one of your favorite athletes, actors, and asking them questions everyone wants to know? I love being in front of the camera and behind a microphone talking to an audience. I would love to anchor a TV show and be a correspondent for a radio or television show. In my informative piece, I will discuss why I'm drawn towards the field of journalism, mass communications, and why I choose Brian Perkins to interview. I interviewed Brian Perkins, broadcast journalism program coordinator and instructor of Darton State College. Mr. Perkins has been teaching for 9 years at Darton State College. He received his degree from Syracuse University and shortly began his career. I chose Mr. Perkins due to his knowledge of the field of broadcast production and journalism and his reliable and trustworthy aptitude. Perkins stated he is just many who in this field who had to move to pursue this career. He commuted from the north of the United States and basically started a new life in Georgia. His story with many others that I have read and researched all are similar because in this career you have to travel and relocate because it's necessary to achieve. Now that I told you a little about my career goals and my interviewee, now it's time to discuss the important elements of this career choice and what I've learned so far. The important key factors I've learned in this interview and from other sources. Journalism and mass communications is very interesting. I learned from my research, although this field is important, one must always stay ahead in the advances of technology. This field is always advancing and more than you know, so you better stay afloat. The field is very broad, stated Perkins, and a person who can seek several job opportunities in today's market. Salary ranges, due to the field being so broad, depending on the market of the career that is chosen, it can range from upper 20,000 to the early 30,000s, excuse me. And the area of the city and state plays a big role in it as well, of salary. A lot of journalism jobs are becoming freelance instead of going to work for a company. Freelance is when someone is in the career path that might be constructed to do a job for a certain company and is paid on a contract basis instead of working for the company. So they work with it. So that's an interesting fact that I learned about freelance and journalism. So far I mentioned about the salary, what I have learned, and now it's time to tell you about how this information has affected me and my choice so far. The interview and research has shown me the different areas that are offered in this career besides the basics. Here are some of the different jobs that are shown here. Directors, producers, writers, news writers, writers for movies, and authors of books, authors of television shows. The genre is so advanced and it continues with this field. It's broad and it expands. Mr. Perkins has enlightened me on the different choices, explains the sacrifice and determination that I must have in order to succeed in this career. My sources, which I have used, were my personal interview with Brian Perkins, the artcareerproject.com, that is a web source, as well as the U.S. Department of Labor, Bureau of Labor Statistics, and tips for getting started in broadcast production journalism. My sources that I have used so far and what I researched suggests that one should apply for internships at a local television or radio production show to get your hands in there and foot into the door. As I close my speech, I will continue to research about journalism, mass communication. From my information that was given to me from my interviewee, Mr. Brian Perkins, and the sources, I will involve these patterns And it gives me the momentum that I need to push and succeed in this field. In due time, you all see me and hear my voice and recall and say, hey, I remember her. She finally made it. Thank you all for tuning in. See you all on the big screen.